Okay, we're now recording. So everything that you see projected on the screen and everything I say or you say will be recorded, and that way people will be able to see it later. All right. Any questions? Okay. Let's start with the syllabus. Okay. Now, I can't tell when the screen, I lose you on the screen and when it picks up. Can you see the purple circle just going around the circles? Okay, okay, good. I don't know why it's taking forever to open. The whole system has been so slow today. I don't know if it's our Wi-Fi. I don't know if it's the computer. Last night the computer had, okay, let me start over. I just got this computer yesterday morning, and I've been trying to get it working well. It's a fairly new computer. It's a nice computer, but it just doesn't seem to be interacting well with the program sometime. And this is an example. I've been in the syllabus several times today, and it hasn't done this before. So I think what I'll do is stop this and try it one more time. Okay. That time it went right to work. Okay. No. At this point, okay, are y'all familiar enough with Blackboard here? You can't open this by clicking on it. You could the syllabus. If it doesn't have an underline over it, it won't open. So you go to the three dots here, click on that and say download. Okay. And when you download, it will hopefully come up down here. Okay. Now, this has been doing this all day long, resolving host. And I don't know what they mean by that. It seems like to me the computer's having trouble getting Blackboard to do what it needs to do, or Blackboard's having trouble communicating with the computer. I don't know. Say that again. Right. And let me try it again. All it says is resolving host. You see, I don't know if you can read it in this corner way down here. It says resolving host. Anytime I get close to it, it disappears. I don't know why it's doing that, because it's worked well in my first two classes today, but is not doing a thing now. So what I think I may do is get out of this, and I think I'll even step back one more step. Okay. Sometimes starting over seems to help. So there's another message down there about JavaScript, and sometimes that's a pain in the neck too. So if this has an underline, usually when you click over it, it should open. And there it did, much faster that time. So this time I'm going to click here, download original file. That time it did it. There it is. Okay. Now it's open twice. Okay, good for it. And I can't close either one of them, so I'll just go with the first one. Now, y'all haven't seen anyone else? Okay, it said the screen sharing has paused, so let me pick up a new share here, and there it is. Okay, can you see the syllabus now? All right, good. Okay, and there's Macy. First time I caught a glance of you before, but that's the first time I've seen your that something wasn't blocking my view, and I've already marked you here, right? Yeah, Macy Wallace. Okay, so we'll go over this quickly. I imagine most of you are familiar with. Okay, let me not make any assumptions. How many? Or let me ask it this way: are all of you Lawson students? Have you been Lawson students before? Are you familiar with how we do things at Lawson? Anybody who is not, that might need a little help or guidance on how in the world, what are you doing here? Okay, everybody's okay with it. Okay. Oh, you are? Okay. Did you use Blackboard at your previous school? Okay, so you're familiar with Blackboard. Were you this Blackboard Ultra or were you the older Blackboard? I wish we were there. No, I'm sorry, I didn't say that. How did I? Okay. Um, if you have any trouble navigating this, there are a few things. Some are subtle and some are definitely not too subtle that are very different about this Blackboard Ultra. A few things probably are a little easier and better, but by and large, it seems like it's a lot more awkward than the old one is. So if you feel that way, don't worry. I think the rest of us do too. All right. So, and any questions, please ask. Okay. Here's the syllabus. We're physics 112, principles of physics. Oh, and let me ask this too. Are all of you DMS students going into diagnostic medical sonography? Yes. Okay. If you're not, that's not real certain that this course will work in your degree plan. It may be out there, but they have it in a weird place on the um, degree plans, and sometimes it'll be listed for some degree that it has nothing to do with that degree. So since it's a new program and everything, a few things have gotten in strange places. So we do meet Tuesday and Thursday evening from 5 to 6:30. I need to quit talking so we can have some class today. There is no campus, there is no room, so it just says virtual here. I'm the instructor. That's my name, Charles Fowler. It says for office and office phone. You know, we're not in the office, so there is no office, there is no office phone. Here's my email. That's the best way to get in touch with me. Or two ways. My email listed here, or now I'm going to get into back in the Blackboard shortly. So Manasseh, when we go there, remind me to show you how to get to messages. Okay? That's different from the announcements. It's messages. Okay. They sort of look the same sometimes, but they are fairly different. Okay. But this is one way to get in touch with me. The other way is through Blackboard messages. I'll show you that when we get back to Blackboard. All right. Here are my office hours. And you'll see this on my locator card a little bit later, and I'll go over in a little more detail then. But on Monday mornings, I'm up here. This is a spare bedroom. That's my office here. My wife's working downstairs in our regular office, and she tried to get me as far away from her as possible because I'm too loud and hard of hearing. And she tried to have as many doors closed as possible so she won't bother her work. So anyway, from Monday mornings from 8 to 11:30, I had a class scheduled at 8:30. They took it away and gave it to somebody else. Fine with me. But anyway, so I start class at 11:30. That's why I have office hours from 8 to 11:30. But then once I'm in class at 11:30, that's a 4-hour calculus class. So that goes from 11:30 until 2:25. And then at 2:30, it starts a physical science class. Physical science class has a regular class time and then followed by a lab time. So I finish at 6:15 on Mondays and Wednesdays. So that's why the only office hours I have are 8 to 11:30. And when we get to the locator card, I'll explain that in a little more detail. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, now I have a class that starts at 8:30. So I'm in the office usually by 8. So from 8 to 8:30, you can get in touch with me. Email is best, but the messages may work too. But then my class starts at 8:30 and goes till 10:45. Then I have another class that starts at 11, so I only have 15 minutes there. That starts at 11 and goes till 1:15. Okay, so from 1:15 and when that class ends until 5 o'clock when this class begins, I have office hours then too. Now, somewhere in there, I eat lunch. Also, somewhere between 10:30 and 11:30, I eat lunch on Mondays and Wednesdays. And after 1:15, around till around 2:15, I eat lunch on Tuesdays and Thursdays, just grabbing something when I can. Usually, I'm back in the office. I don't use a whole hour, but they want us to put an hour down on our schedule. Okay, so Mondays, Wednesdays are like that. Tuesday, Thursday like that. And this class, of course, goes till 6:30, and then I'm supposedly through for the day. But I'm willing to stay and talk, answer questions, whatever you need. I can stay after 5:30. I'm 6:30. I'm home. I'm here. Okay. Fridays, the college is closed. There aren't any office hours or anything else. I will periodically be checking email. and other things, possibly the messages. But by and large, on Fridays, I'm supposed to be off, though I'll still be doing some things. Okay, so you can sometimes catch me then. Here is a course description, and this was written specifically for the Diagnostic Medical Sonography program. This course introduces the student to basic principles of physics with an emphasis on electricity and magnetism. The course is designed to provide the student with not only a basic knowledge of electricity and magnetism, but also an understanding of real-world applications. Okay? To prepare the student to understand electricity and magnetism, however, additional topics include forces, because if you don't understand forces, it's hard to talk about electricity and magnetism. So we're going to start with forces, then we're going to go to work. Okay? Before you can really understand electricity and magnetism, you got to understand the concepts of work. Work and energy, those go together. They're basically the same thing, just different expressions of it. Okay, power is just the time rate of change of work or energy. So that's related to these three. These three are all in one chapter. Then we're going to have a chapter on sound. Hey, that's pretty important because you're going into sonography. Okay, that's sound waves. Okay, and the atomic nature of matter, which is a little bit of a bizarre chapter to have in here, but they put it there. We'll talk about it. Now, I understand partially why it is, because sound waves and other things interact with matter because of the differences in solids, liquids, gases, and other things like that. So we will talk a little bit about the atomic nature of matter. Seems so strange in here, though. Then topics in electricity and magnetism include electrical forces and fields. That's why you needed to know about forces. Currents, electrical circuits, magnetic forces and field, again, why you needed to know about forces, capacitance, electromagnetic induction, and transformers. Okay, and in just a little bit, I'll tell you the chapters that correspond to those topics. So we'll get there in just a few minutes. Prerequisites, they put officially as required by program, but I understand from Dr. Marable, who's in charge of, she's the Associate Dean in charge of health professions. I think she wants you to have Math 100 for this course. Now, if you have a good solid Math 098, you can do all the math that's required in here. I'll walk you through anything that you don't know. Co-requisites, none. Okay. The textbook is this one, and I'm going to use my camera a lot, and I'll explain that in a minute. But the book looks something like this. It's a pretty, not that thick of a book, but from what I understand is a very expensive book. So if you can rent it, that might be good. If you can get a used book, that might be good. If you can find it on the internet at some of the book places that are cheaper, you might want to go with that. I don't know of any way, there probably is some way to get an electronic copy, an ebook, but I don't know what that is. Okay. A lot of our other courses use Cengage books. This one happens not to be a Cengage book, so the Cengage Unlimited does not work for this book. The title of it, as you saw, was, the authors are Dale Ewan. I don't know if you can see it down here. Dale Ewan, Neil Schurter, and P. Eric Gunderson. What names, huh? The title is Applied Physics. It is the 11th edition. That's right there. Okay. And it's a 2017 text, meaning it'll probably be good only for a year or two more before they up the edition. But y'all will be through with it by then. Okay. And please, please, now this is important. If you've got your book, bring it to class. If you got paper and pencil, have it ready because we're going to be working problems. That's what physics is all about. I have sort of a theory. Physics is applied mathematics. So we'll be working problems. They're going to be pretty simple problems, and I'll walk you through step by step of how to do these. Okay? So bring your pencil. I'm going to have pencil and paper right here at the desk. I'll be working through the problems with you. Okay? And certainly calculators are permitted. I would say encouraged for the course. I'll probably be using my phone. That's perfectly okay if you want to use yours. Scientific calculators are quite adequate for this course. The little cheapies probably are not too good for it because we will be doing a lot of things with scientific notation, and the cheapie calculators don't have that. We will be doing a few things with some other functions that the cheap calculators don't have. So scientific calculators are usually not that expensive either, but that's what I would recommend. Your phone has that, or most smartphones have that option. That's a scientific calculator on. Okay, Blackboard, I'm not going to go over this in great detail. I really don't care for this. They tell us we can't change it, so it's here. All courses must use Blackboard to gain access to vital course information, such as the syllabus, handouts, PowerPoint shows, activities, assignments, announcements, and so forth. Okay. Now, especially since we're in virtual classes, Blackboard is really even more important. The syllabus, you just saw, it's out there. Okay. Hopefully it's correct. And so that's there. Handouts. Now, since we're not in class, if we were in class, I'd say most of the things, if I'm going to hand out to you, I'll hand them out to you. Now, everything has to go through Blackboard. So let me hit this right now. Remember earlier, I said there's two ways that you could get in touch with me, email messages or emails or messages through Blackboard. How I'll be sending you things is through the messages on Blackboard. I don't have email accounts for every one of you. I can get them, but it's so much easier to do it through Blackboard. So please check your Blackboard messages. That's where the things will be coming in. And basically, the only thing I'll be sending to you that's not already out there on Blackboard under content will be your test when it comes time for test. Okay? Is that a question for me or just talk in the background? Okay, I think it is too. Okay. Um, all right. Um, and by the way, if you haven't noticed, I'm hard of hearing, so that's why I talk so loud, or one of the reasons. And that's also why I don't always pick up everything. So if you feel like I'm ignoring you, I'm not. Please just speak up and say, "Hey, here I'm talking." Okay. All right. So handouts, that'll be mostly your test that I'll be handing out to you. PowerPoint shows. Okay. They're out there on Blackboard now, and I'll show you that when we get to them. But let me say this. This book is not a bad book for the physics. Okay. The physics is pretty decent in here. The PowerPoints stink. They are awful. Okay. The test bank stinks. It is awful. So I've had to modify the tests somewhat just to make them make more sense. Some of them are just absolutely wrong. Sometimes the answer bank is wrong. I'll point out to you anytime there's one of those discrepancies. Okay. So, but just know that the PowerPoints are out there, but they're pretty pathetic. Okay. Activities. Sometimes the school will post activities. There aren't many activities. We're isolated. Okay. But if there's anything being posted, check for it on Blackboard. Also check your emails. Assignments. Now, oh my goodness, wait a minute. Did I start my recorder? Did anyone notice that? I thought so too, but I don't see it now. Uh, Recorder is recording, it said. Okay. So we want it to be recording, but it's not showing. Usually it shows up in the corner down here, but I guess what I'm showing is not. So we must be recording. I sure hope we are. So I'll minimize that again. What's that? You are recording, right? Is that what you're saying? Or that we're not? We are. Say again? Really? Let me go back. Again, I'm having trouble um, getting everything to work at once. Okay. Okay, that says recorder is recording. So that makes me feel a little better about it. What I'm going to do here, just for a moment, is minimize this just to see if I can see the recorder. Okay, that didn't help any, did it? Let me minimize again. Oh, I know what the problem is. These things right here are blocking it, I bet. Okay. When I leave this screen, hopefully we'll see it is recording. It indicates it is. Okay. All right. My screen sharing paused. Let me see if I can get the PowerPoint back up there again. Syllabus. Nope, wrong one. This one. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Too many moving parts here, and I'm not really good at this. Okay. Anyone else trying to come in? Actually, we're down to 4 people. We must have lost somebody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we lost somebody. Hopefully they'll be coming back. So if you see anyone trying to get back in, let me know. All right. So I was talking about Blackboard, the assignments. Okay. Since I'm recording, that's where you'll find the assignments. I'm not going to type them out in Blackboard. I'm going to tell them to you on the Screencast-O-Matic. Now, where does it go from here? I send it to, once the recording's over, I send it to a YouTube video. So if you miss class, go to the YouTube videos. I'll show you how to get there in just a few minutes when we get to that portion of it, but that's where they'll be, and that's where your assignments will be. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, this next sentence I really don't like. I'm not even going to bother reading it. I would say it this way, but they don't like this change. If you use Blackboard properly, you can do that will enhance your ability to do well in the course. That is such a negative statement, they said here. And it said they should always check the Blackboard announcements and task pages prior to coming to class. Well, that's pretty important because that's where the announcements is where the Zoom video invites are. So you have to check them to get the invite, and y'all did. I'm worried about the people who are not here, and I don't know where they might be, but it's early in the term, and one person just added, so maybe they didn't get their invite in time. I don't know. So anyway, that's Blackboard. Okay. Here are the professional competencies, and these came right out of the course description. You'll solve problems, and notice physics is solving problems. Okay, solve problems dealing with forces. That'll be the first chapter we do. If you have your books, that's chapter 5. Solve problems dealing with work and energy. That's chapter 8. Okay, and you'll see them right down here. Demonstrate an understanding of the atomic nature of matter. That's chapter 12. Remember, that was in the course description. I use that very word. Describe and demonstrate an understanding of sound. That's chapter 16. Okay. And then solve problems dealing with currents and, demonstrate an understanding of electrical forces and fields. That's the first part of chapter 17. Solve problems dealing with currents and circuits. That's the latter part of chapter 17. We'll demonstrate an understanding of magnetic forces and fields. That's pretty much chapter 18. And then demonstrate an understanding of capacitance, electromagnetic induction, and transformers. That's chapter 19. Now, the reason I put 18 and 19 together, we're only doing certain sections of each one of those. Those are both long, long chapters and doing a lot of stuff with math that you aren't required to have. So we're just going to limit ourselves to those parts that deal with magnetic forces and fields, with capacitance, with induction, and with transformers. That's the only part we're dealing with, and those go together pretty nicely. And it was hard to come up with 2 tests on those 2 chapters because there were so many things we couldn't do because the math was too involved. Okay, so we're going that. So here's how I'm going to do it. You're going to be responsible for those tests. That's what, 6 tests there, right? Yeah. Okay. And each unit of study, that's a chapter at a time, except for the last 2 chapters together. That's a unit of study. The lowest test score may be dropped, but not the last test. The last test technically is your final test, and the final cannot be dropped because we have to hang on to copies of the finals for like 3 years. I'm not going to be here in 3 years, but we have to do that. So all but the last test can be, the lowest test score can be dropped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. So I'll count your top 5 scores and except I can't drop that final test. Okay. I think you know the grading scale. 90s are A's, 80s are B's, 70s are C's. Don't go anywhere past that. Okay. This next little statement there was worded so poorly in the syllabus, we weren't supposed to change it, but being a math person, I could not leave it. It was originally written this way. The instructor always rounds up. That's how the original statement was. And then this, for example, was exactly as done. For example, a 79.5% will be rounded up to an 80%. Of course, that's how you round, and that's certainly rounding up. But then it said, but a 79.4% would remain a C. Well, guess what? That's not rounding up, that's rounding down. No, that's rounding normally. So I changed it from saying it always rounds up and then giving an example of how you round down to just saying you round normally. Anytime you have the place beyond the decimal point or the last significant digit, we'll be talking about that, is a 5 or more, you round up. If it's a 4 or less, you drop it. Okay, so whoever wrote that didn't understand math, but I corrected it so it made sense. All right, attendance. You've probably seen this in every course you've done. Manasseh, you probably have seen something similar to this before, but this is sort of a standard statement here that we have on all syllabi. But for the virtual classes like we're in now, these next 3 paragraphs were recently added. So if you think you've seen the syllabus before, look again because these are new statements here. And they're a little bizarre because they talk about how you need to be here here's somebody else trying to come in. I think this is Macy getting back in. Let me check and see for sure. Yeah, that gets us back to 6. Let me just make sure I saw that correctly. Yeah, Macy's back. Okay. Yeah, I've had that happen to me so many times. So glad you're back. All right. Now I've got something in the window down here I can't see. So anyway, any question? Okay, I was going to say, they talk about you need to be here every class and that's how you get attendance and don't be missing classes, stuff like this. Then they sent us an announcement. We had to confirm that we were not going to count attendance from the attendance. We were going to do it from, participation. Well, how can you participate if you're not here? Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Okay. So anyway, read this. Hopefully all of you have most of this. You can live without it. Macy just experienced if you don't have internet, it's hard to participate. But I know back in the spring after we left campus, we went for more than 2 days with no internet whatsoever. I couldn't come in and out, just absolutely no internet. So it was very miserable trying to teach classes that way. Karen, my wife, has a hotspot, and I was trying to teach off the hotspot, and it went in and out all the time. I had to be in the room right next to her, and she hated that because I'm so loud. But anyway, we managed, but it wasn't pleasant. All right, then the things about withdrawals, basically, they go through a lot of talking here, and basically this: if you can't be in class enough to get the material and you're in danger of making a D or an F, it's way better to withdraw than it is to make a D or an F, okay? Because a D won't count for your diagnostic program, I don't think, will it? Don't they require a C or better? I think so. So you don't want to make a D, you definitely don't want to make an F. They will both hurt you academically. A withdrawal doesn't hurt you academically. It has some financial aid repercussion, but guess what? So do D's and F's. And they're no different than financial aid reproductions, or when they talk about that here, so what? All of them count the same for that. You can repeat a course once and financial aid will usually pay for it, but you can't repeat it twice. So they won't pay for it. But if you're going to make a D or an F, you're going to have to repeat the course. If you withdraw from a course, you'll have to repeat the course. The difference is a D or an F will hurt your grade point average, a withdrawal will not. So anyway, I'm not going into any more detail than that, but that's sort of nuts how they go such a big deal about it when it's fairly simple. Okay, makeup work. Let me back up. When we're talking about the test, y'all have an option here. Do you prefer in-class test or take-home test? What? Oh, what a shock. I was not expecting that. Okay. No, I figured you might say that. So I'm planning to give you take-home test, okay? I'll give you the test and you'll have 1 week to return them, okay? Now, if you need more time, I'm really easy about giving you more time too, but try to get them back in a week. And here's the reason. We got to cover 6 testing units, remember? And we've only got a little over 8 weeks to do it. So you really can't afford to do more than a week each. Well, the other advantage of a week, it always gives you a class period to ask a question. Because we meet Tuesday and Thursday, you'll always have a chance to ask a question if there's something you don't understand. And the other thing, it always gives you a weekend to work on the test. If you're working and have all sorts of other demands on your time, usually weekends are when we have a little more time, except for those people who work all weekend. Okay. So in that sense, I don't know what makeup work means, but if you need to make work, try to get it back. If you need more time, try to get it done, but don't let it linger. Definitely don't have 2 tests out at the same time. Get that first one in before the second one, the third one before the fourth one. Try to get those back in. Now, this next thing is on academic integrity. I think all of you understand and know this. Let me just say, have it. Have academic integrity. Plagiarism, don't do it. Cheating, don't do it. Okay? I don't know why they do whole paragraphs on this stuff, but probably in some classes it's pretty important. This one, just don't do it. You're not going to help yourself in diagnostic medical sonography program if you don't know what you're supposed to know. So learn it. Okay. Now, professional decorum. To me, this is almost a waste of time and space. And did I say that out loud? Okay. Right now, I can only see Mercy. Okay. I hope none of the rest of you are sleeping or reclining or lounging. No. What difference does that make? Look at you. She's sleeping. Okay, aren't you? Okay. No. And I bet you none of you are eating or drinking, are you? Okay. I don't care. And here's a big one. I hope you're not wearing inappropriate clothing. Sunglasses. Oh, I hate those. Hats. I don't care. This especially in a virtual environment, I don't care on any of this. Even in the class, I really don't care much unless you're distracting other students. If you are, don't do it. Okay. So now let me do say this. We did have a little bit of outside noise earlier. Last spring, when we were virtual classes, there were at least 2 times when a student actually was talking on the telephone while I was teaching. Now, the thing is, I never would have known that except she did not mute her microphone. So all of us had to hear the entire her half of the conversation because she was talking fairly loud to whoever it was, and she actually got somewhat upset with them because some of the language was not all that nice. Okay, and we all had to hear it, and I kept saying, "I don't think she realizes her microphone's on," but she never could hear me because she was talking too loud. So if you are going to be doing some of this other stuff, just turn off your microphone. I'd rather have you in class, but if you're going to be doing something distracting to others, turn it off. Okay? All right. Enough of that. Course concerns, if you feel like you're not getting a fair shake, if you don't feel like this is being presented in a way you can follow, whatever, come and talk with me. I mean, email me, speak with me, hang with me after class, whatever, and we'll try to work it out. If you don't feel like you're satisfied there, go to the department chair. Oh, that's me. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Well, I am sort of. But Dr. Wilson is technically your department chair, or Dr. Marable is in charge of the health services, so she would be good too. And then if you can't do it there, move on up the ladder. Associate dean, dean, I'll help you get there, okay? I'll help you write me up, whatever. But please, I want you to learn. That's the important thing. And that's why, and this is sort of crazy here too, statement of discrimination and harassment. Uh, I'm not sure how we do that in a virtual environment, but don't do it, okay? And it's a serious matter. So don't be harassing each other, okay? Uh, if you have disabilities, please go through the process. Um, Dr. Renee Herndon, normally on the Bessemer campus, Mrs. Janine McCoy Jones, normally on the Birmingham campus. They're both out there under, what is the name of that? Counseling services, I think it is, or disability services or something. You can get your material to them. They will get stuff to me. Okay. I've already received 2 things this term. So we do whatever it takes. What I'm interested in is that you learn the material you need to get into your program. That's what I'm interested in. I will do anything I can to help you get there. Okay. Here's the college calendar. It came straight out of the academic calendar on the website. These are the important dates. I left off some of them that make a lot of sense to us. The really bizarre thing, and I beg them every time I have a chance, please do not start classes on a Tuesday or a Thursday. And this is a perfect example of why. Starting classes today on a Thursday. Guess what? Monday's a holiday. So we'll meet again on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, Wednesday classes meet the first time. Okay? That means the Tuesday, Thursday classes are 1 week ahead of Monday, Wednesday classes from the get-go. If they had just started classes yesterday, they'd be a little bit behind, but not that far behind. And then guess what happens? July 4th is on a Saturday, I believe it is. So they're giving us Monday off. No, that's another Monday, Wednesday class we've lost. Now Monday, Wednesday classes are a week and a half behind Tuesday and Thursday. If they had just made the holiday on Thursday, the 2nd, rather than Monday, the 6th, then it would have been a little more equal. Monday, Wednesday classes would still be 1 day behind. Now they're 3 days behind. Okay. But I can't do a thing with it. They won't listen. Administrators don't teach classes. They don't want to understand this kind of stuff. So anyway, now let me say this too. Remember when we're talking about withdrawing from a class? If you are going to withdraw and you are on some type of financial aid, it's a good idea to wait until after Tuesday, June the 30th to withdraw. Because if you withdraw before this date here, 60% completion date, you may have to owe them money back. If you wait until after this to withdraw, then you're okay. So if you are going to withdraw, good idea to go do it between June 30th and July 21st. That's 3 weeks basically in there. That's the best time to withdraw. Now, if something comes up, you have to go sooner and you don't want to risk forgetting, yeah, go on and withdraw. But now this one up here, this is last day to withdraw and receive a partial refund. That's if you're withdrawing from school, not from the course, from school, that you just have to, something comes up, spouse has moved, someone's gotten really sick and you're going to have to be full-time, care provider for them. Something like that happens if you withdraw from CLAP, not from this class, from all your classes. If you do that by June 12th, you get a partial refund. Okay. So I just wanted you to know this is withdrawal from school. This is withdrawal from class. Okay. So, all right. Any questions on the calendar? Now, the dean came out with that thing that we had to confirm we were going to do. And one of the things was make some sort of assignment every day. I'll probably make another one before the day's out, but right now, this will be your assignment. Read the syllabus, and if you have any questions, ask me. Email me, wait till next class, ask me, but send me this piece of paper. Print it off from your syllabus, or just screenshot it, or just sign it, or type your name and date in there and email it back to me. However you want to do this, just indicate to me, get me this piece of paper back one way or another. Okay, that reminds me. How I'm going to send you your test. I'll send it through Blackboard message. And I'll show you that when we go back to Blackboard, and that's going to be really soon. I'll show you where that is, okay? That's how I'll be sending things to you. So you need to check announcement page, because that gives you your Zoom stuff, but also the messages, okay? That's where your test will come in. Now, when I send them to you, they'll either be in Word format or they'll be in PDF format. Okay, if it's PDF, you basically got to print them off, write in the answers, and then send them back to me. Now, how do you send them back? Two possible ways. If you have a scanner, scan it and send it back as a PDF. Perfectly fine. If I send, well, three ways maybe. If I send it to you in Word and you want to type the answers in Word and send it back to me in Word, that's okay too. I don't require that, but I actually had some students last term who did that. It's pretty amazing, but they did it, okay? Or you can take a picture with a smartphone, and that's usually a JPEG file or something like that, and you can send that to me. Now, how do you send it to me? Either through messages on Blackboard or through email. The dean doesn't like us to say send it through email, but guess what? I had students who had trouble sending it through messages last time, so I said send me an email. So whatever is easier for you, that's how to send it back to me. Now, my wife has mentioned to me most of the smarter smartphones have a free app that you can take a picture and make it into a PDF format. So if you have that app, it's a free app. You can go get it. Now we're familiar with the Apple products. I'm not familiar with the Google products, the Verizon and those kinds of things, those type of iPhones. But I think they all are available to get the app. I know that my wife got a new iPad for both of us to use, and that one I can take pictures. So that's why I may be sending you some things by PDF, because it's real easy to take a picture with that. It's a PDF. So you can do it any one of those ways, okay? Either typing in the answer, writing in the answer, taking a picture. Now, let me say this about taking pictures. I had so many students last spring term that were doing this that it got really difficult. They would have an overhead light, and then they have their phone there and taking a picture, and I got mostly their shadow, okay? And the writing that they did under the shadow was almost impossible to read. I usually was managed somehow. When you are taking a picture with your phone or doing a PDF or however, try to get oblique lighting coming in from the side so that your device is not blocking the light, okay? Try to have light coming in from a lamp or something on the side so that it lights the page and I can see the answer. Okay, your answers. All right, any questions on that? That was more than the syllabus, but while I was thinking about it, I did it. Okay, all clear on that? Okay, now you may lose the Zoom for a bit, so I'm going to close this and you may lose it. Yep, screen sharing stopped. So I'll pick up that in a minute. Let's go to the next thing on okay. I'm going to get out of the syllabus. You can't see this. Let me see if I can get you so you can see it. Okay, pretty exciting stuff, huh? Okay. Well, is that what I want? I can't read it. No, that's not what I want. Okay. Let me see what resume share does. New share. Okay, I think this is what I want. It looks black now. Okay. Can you see this back in Blackboard syllabus? Okay. So I'm going to click off of the syllabus. Can you see that? Blackboard Principles of Physics, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. So we're going to move from syllabus to locator card. Okay. And again, we hit the three dots here and download, don't downgrade, but download the file. Here it is. It's working now. It wasn't working well before. Okay, here we go. But it's paused again, so I'm going to have to go back to Zoom and there we go. New share, and here's the locator card. This is pretty awkward, but it's doable. Okay, I'm going to try to get this out of the way down here. Okay, here's my locator card. This shows when I'm available, when I'm not available, what's going on. This is summer 2020. There's my name again, Charles Fowler. No office phone. Okay, there's my email address again. I'm actually in the mathematics department, though I do teach physics. Okay, I'm credentialed for both. Here's my weekly schedule. Okay, this is almost everything. That top line I'm going to lose. That's just the days of the week. Okay, there. That shows it all. Okay. Oh, I can see it all now. All right. On Mondays, I did have an 8:30 class. They gave it to somebody else. Fine with me. Okay. So I'm in the office from 8 o'clock until 10:30. I'm trying to, they say we need an hour lunch every day. I really don't take an hour every day, but I usually will get something sometime between 10:30 and 11:30. I usually leave the room here, go downstairs to the kitchen and get it. Okay. Usually I'm back before it's over with. So I'm here some of that time, but I'll be gone part of the time. But from 8 till 10:30, I'm basically here. I have a Calculus 2 class. It begins at 11:30. It goes until 2:25. I have a big 5 minutes break before I start a physical science class. It starts at 2:30. It goes until 4:45, and then we go straight into a lab. The lab goes until 6:15. Now, most days, I don't think we'll be in lab for a full hour and a half a day, okay? But we may. I certainly will if I have questions, but we can't do a physical lab, so I'm just set them up with virtual labs, tell them how to do it, and most of the time they say, okay, we'll do it on our own time. And if there's no more questions, it's over with. So, but other than that, I'll technically working till 6. I will be working until 6:15, but I may not be in the lab the whole time. Okay, Tuesday, I'm in the office from 8 to 8:30, getting ready for this class. There's a differential equations class. Then I have 15 minutes until I have my linear algebra class. And I'll try to have lunch. Class is over at 1:15, have lunch there until 2:15, back in the office until 3. Now, notice here's a difference. Office advising as opposed to office. I'm trying to explain what that means. Have any of you participated in the virtual advising center? Did any of you use that? Okay. We are required to do 5 hours a week, be available 5 hours a week for virtual advising. So my virtual advising hours are 3 to 5 on Tuesday afternoon, 8 to 10 on Wednesday morning. That's 2 hours, and then 3 to 4 on Thursday afternoon. So that's why these say office/advising. Most of the time, I'm not advising the whole 2 hours. They're 30-minute blocks, so usually only maybe one block and sometimes no blocks. I have had occasion where every block is filled, but most of the time it's not. So most of the time I will be office hours, but if you can't get me, that probably means I'm advising. And again, they're 30-minute blocks. Quite often they don't last 30 minutes, but we allow for that. Sometimes they go over, especially if I don't have another block right after it. But if you can't get me when it's office advising, the odds are I'm advising. But most of the time I'll be in the office. I'll be in the office the whole time, but I may not be available to get it. Then this class starts at 5, so I'm advising right up until 5. So if I'm ever late getting started, that's because I can't get that advisee off the phone, okay? But as soon as I can get them off, then we'll be here. So it goes 5 till 6:30, and that's the end of my day. 6:15 on Monday, Wednesday, and 6:30 on Tuesday, Thursday. Okay. Wednesday, just like Monday, except the morning time is office advising rather than just office time. That's from 8 to 10. From 10 to 10:30, that's office time. Okay. And then on Thursday, just like Tuesday, except that rather than 2 hours of office advising, it's only 1, and the rest of that time I'm in the office. I'm in the office the whole time, but I'm not advising that last hour. Okay. So I'm advising after lunch. I mean, in the office after lunch and after advising, but here I may be advising or office. Any questions on that? It's just some little subtle differences, but nothing big deal. Okay, if not, I'll go on and exit that, okay? And again, you're going to lose the screen sharing, so I'll get it back as soon as I can. This is just awkward having to do it this way, but it's how they require it. I mean, just the nature of the beast here. Okay, I'm gonna have to minimize this so I can see what I'm looking at behind here. Okay, I tried to close that before. Oh, I know why is that. That's a different class. That's my calculus class. Okay, that's my locator card. Let's go back to PowerPoint slides. This is how you access them if you want to see them ahead of time or follow me in class. Here they are. This is a folder. See, these are documents. This is a folder. So you can go over here to this arrow here, and that opens it, and you see each one of them. And here's the chapter 5 PowerPoints. There's the chapter 8, chapter 12, chapter 16, 17, 18, and 19. So there's the PowerPoints. Remember I said they're pathetic. They're pathetically poor, okay? But they're there, okay? And because they take up so much room to display them this way, I go on and close it back up, put them back in the folder, so to speak. Okay? And here's your YouTube videos. If you want to see what we've done in the class, just click on this. That goes straight to the link. No 3 dots involved. Okay? Now, these are all classes I've done in the past. Long past, short past, whenever. So most of them were last term. Okay? And you'll see some of these, like this one right here. I don't know if you can tell. That one has writing on it. And here's the deal, folks. I'm sorry about this, but it happened. Back before we left campus, and even after we left campus, I had a computer that was called a tablet computer. That meant it had an ionizing pen and I could write on the screen. And I did, and we solved all the problems on the screen. Okay. And it's a great teaching tool. Okay. But that computer, it was an old computer, it died on me. Okay. I hoped it was the adapter and the battery. We ordered new adapter and battery. Supposed to be delivered the next week. FedEx said they delivered it to somebody's front porch, but it wasn't ours. And they didn't bother to find out where it was. I don't know. The guy could have thrown it away. We don't know. So we had to reorder. UPS that time delivered actually a day early. So bonus for UPS. But the computer then operated about 4 more class days and then died again. So it wasn't just the adapter, the computer was on its way out, or else they sold us a bad adapter. I don't know, but I could not get it to work after that. So now I've got this computer. Okay, this is a nice computer, but it doesn't have a writable screen. So when I'm working problems, I'm working them with you on a piece of paper, and then I'll take the piece of paper and hold it up to the camera and let you see what I've done on my thing. If any of you are having problems, that's how I have to do. Now, the sad news is what gets recorded in the video is not what shows on the camera. So therefore, what I'm going to do, especially these old files like this, that the problems are worked out on the screen, I'm going to leave these out here, okay? I'll save the files that we do, and some of them will have very similar to names to this, but I'll leave them both out here so you can hear what we did, but you can also see what I did on previous terms. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's why you'll see double dipping. The old files will always be at the top of this. That's how they put them in there, and the newer files always fill in at the bottom. Okay, now one in here somewhere probably says something about syllabus. This one after today, I will Where was it? I know I saw it. There it is. I'll take this one off and put today's in because you don't need to hear what I said in the previous class. So that one I will replace, but the rest of them I won't. Okay, any questions on that? But that's where you find the YouTube videos. And by the way, the YouTube videos take a couple of hours to upload. So probably late that night or sometime the next morning is when you'll find them uploaded. Okay. So don't look for them immediate. It takes a while for them to upload, and then I have to move them over and put them in what they call the playlist. And this is the playlist. Okay. So let me get out of this, and this link takes you. You don't have to know what the thing that takes you straight to the playlist. Now, here's another link. This is the library link. This is from Lawson State Library. So if you do need additional resources, looking up things or whatever, you can go and use this library link. You'll probably use it more in other classes than this one, but there it is for you to use at your pleasure. All right, that's pretty much it for the course. Any question? Okay. Now, y'all let me get by without doing what I said. Manasseh, you're supposed to remind me. Okay. Yeah. Here is, you see on Blackboard, this thing that looks like a letter envelope. That's the messages. I'll click on it now so you can see what it looks like. There's Jalen sent me a message here. I hadn't seen it until just now. So Jalen, I haven't seen this yet, but I'll do it. Uh, Oh, you did? Okay, great. But see, Jalen sent me a message. You can send me messages, okay? But the good news about this, I'll show you. When I click on this, oh wait, no. When I click on this plus sign, that's where I do a message. And you see, let me get Vanessa's in the way again. Okay. I'll type, all I have to do is hit here and I'll send it to all course members, okay? So I'm not going to send anything now. If I can get out of this. Okay. Here is where I will do an attachment. Okay, that's where I'll put the test in. And here I'll type the message. I may not have an attachment. I may just have a message for you. Okay, so that's how we work. And then I'll hit send and it'll go. But I'm not going to send anything here. So I will get out of the new messages. Okay, and that's how you send messages to me too. Go to messages, hit the plus sign, and then type in the message you have here. If you're sending me back an attachment, a PDF, JPEG, or something like that, the test you're sending back, attach it this way. Or you can attach it to an email. Either one is fine with me. Okay? Any questions? Okay. So there's the messages. Anything else in Blackboard you need to see? Obviously, you know how to get to the announcements. You got those. I had some people this morning, for some reason, they ignored the announcement about the Zoom class and they were in Collaborate, and I never could get them back. I don't know. A couple other students said they saw them in Collaborate and said, well, there was no class there. Well, they were just there waiting for you to have a class. So I've got to somehow communicate with them. No, we're using Zoom, not Collaborate. Have any of you used Collaborate before? Blackboard Collaborate? Did you like it? Uh-huh. Do you like it better or worse than Zoom, or does it matter? Oh, you do think it's better than Zoom? Really? Okay, because I've had both students and instructors tell me no, Zoom's much easier. So I've never used Collaborate, but because they told me that, I went with Zoom. And we already had Zoom here, and we all for $20 a month, I do Zoom. We're paying for that. The school's not, unfortunately. All right, that's all I can think of to do with this. Do y'all have any questions on Blackboard, on syllabus, on any of it? Okay. Do you have to have the book? That's a very good question. That's completely up to you. Um, like I said, it is an expensive book, but you can get it cheaper than new. Um, there are people who had this last term or before. You might be able to communicate with some of them and get it really cheap. I don't know. Um, but you probably can do it just if you listen to all the classes and watch all the YouTube videos. You might be, I imagine you can get by that way, but the actual problems are in the book, the homework's in the book. Uh, so it's probably going to be better to have it, but that's up to you. I know it's expensive, so but you might be able to find it either as an ebook. It is a Pearson uh, book. I think that's still the name of the company. So if you go to their website, you might find it easier or cheaper than what you can get through the bookstore. I don't know, but it's Pearson. Yeah. Was there another question? I thought I heard one. Okay. If there are no more, then let's start physics for, my goodness. We've only got about half an hour, less than half an hour, about 22 minutes to go. So let me see if I can find. Now, here I've been having problems. For some reason, I cannot get the PowerPoint to open here, and I don't know why. I've always opened it off this is my flash drive. I've always used that in the past and it worked. I can open math PowerPoints. I can't open this and I don't know why. It sits there, turns a little bit and dies. So what I'm going to have to do, and this is a little bit slower, um, but what I'm going to have to do is go back to Blackboard. Okay, I got to get the right class here. There we are, this one. Okay, and go to PowerPoint slides here. Oops, sorry about that. I have to open it. Okay, and go to this slide. Let's see if it'll open from here. Okay. All right, here we go. Chapter 5 PowerPoints. Well, it's not opening there either, is it? It says it's opening and then it quits. Okay. This is really disgusting. Okay. I don't know what PPTX is. I don't know if that's what's messing things up, but it's doing the same thing it did from the flash drive. And it's always worked before. It worked last term. I taught from the slides then too. And it's not opening now. I don't know what has happened since then. Now I'm going to try something else. Now this is a little bizarre, but I'm going to do it. Um, okay, I'm going to close this out. I'm going to close. Okay, the other one's already closed. I'm going to download. I'm going to get rid of these. Okay, and let me get rid of this one. Okay. I don't know if this will work or not, but I'm going to try it. I have two USB ports on this. This, like I said, is not a brand new computer. It's new to me though. I just got it yesterday, and I'm still trying to make sure it works. I'm going to try it with this one now. Okay. Nope, it's not opening here either. I don't know why. Can y'all see this? Did we lose the? Okay. Well, you're not missing anything because the PowerPoints aren't opening. And I don't, like I said, they're pretty lousy to begin with. So I'm going to return the meeting. And um, what I'm going to go from now is the whiteboard. And hopefully I'm not going to have to use it much. Can you see that? It's just a whiteboard. Okay. Now, I'm going to, I don't know if this is in your way, it's in my way. So I'm going to move this down here out of the way. And what I can do, I can type text here, and my typing's really slow. I can try to write off the keypad here, which is really pathetic. I'll tell you that. These are just some things I could stamp there. Highlighting, erasing, go to different colors or whatever, and clear. So that's all I can do here. And some of it I'll have to use. So anyway, we're starting with chapter 5, which is forces. Okay. Um, in your book, it starts with it looks like this. Okay. Now, before we can really talk about forces too much, we really need to get a little bit of background. Okay. And this is in the earlier chapters, chapters 1 through 4, but we don't have time to do the whole book. So let me give you just a quick and dirty on what we're talking about with forces. Let me give you a definition here, and I'll type it in. Oh, here we go. Okay. This is straight out of your text, is any push or pull. That's about the simplest definition I've ever seen of a force. I can remember my physical science teacher in high school. I was in the 9th grade. He was the old football coach, and he was one mean son of a gun. Okay, and he talked like Bear Bryant or worse. He said, "A force is a push or a pull," and that's exactly. I can't even do it as mean as he sounded, but that's what he said. A force is a push or a pull. Now here adds a little bit more credentialing or meaning to that concept. A force is a push or a pull, and the next sentence in your text says, and forces tend to either change the motion of an object or prevent an object from changing its motion. So basically, a force is there to either change motion or prevent the change of motion. Okay, that's what forces do. So in other words, to really understand forces, you've got to understand motion. And you probably think, yeah, okay, I know what we mean by motion. Motion, you start at one place, you wind up somewhere else, right? So what's involved with that motion? There's two major things involved. One is you've gone a distance. From here to there, that's a distance. Distances are usually measured in, and we'll talk about this a little bit later too, two systems of measurements. In the US customary system, that's usually inches, feet, yards, miles, those kinds of things. Okay, if you're talking about the SI system, which is System International, that's measured in meters, centimeters, millimeters, micrometers, kilometers, kilometers, however you want to say that, or bigger than that, but something in the meter range. Okay, those are your distances. Now I'm going to use a slightly different term here, and that's a term called displacement. Distance is how far between here and there. Displacement, however, is how far between these 2 points, but in which direction. Am I going from point A to point B, or am I going from point B to point A? It would make a difference. The displacement this way would be that way. The displacement here would be that way. What am I talking about there? There you're talking about a vector quantity. A vector quantity has both magnitude, how far, with direction. To the right, to the left, to the north, to the southeast, something like that. Up, down. It has a direction associated with it. And what a force does is change an object's motion, or is capable of changing an object's motion. Okay, so I mentioned one thing, distance or displacement, both measured in distance units, inches, feet, miles, kilometers, millimeters, whatever. Okay, now the other physical quantity dealing with motion is time. Okay, time is involved with it because you don't get from here to here instantaneously. It takes some time for that to happen. That could be in seconds, it could be in hours, it could be in millennia. Okay, it may take a while for that to happen. For the Earth to go around, for the solar system to go around its rotation around the black hole in the middle of the Milky Way probably takes eons of times. I mean, I don't know how long that would take. So it could be very short times or very, very long times. So that's the other thing. You have displacement or distance, and you have time. Now, if you put those two together in a division sense, distance divided by time, guess what that gives you? Anyone know? Think of something that you might measure it in miles per hour, feet, a speed, absolutely. Okay, speed is and again, a scalar quantity. How fast are you going? That's your speed. However, now physics uses very specific words in very specific ways. Velocity is speed in a given direction. So if I'm going so fast, that's miles per hour to the northeast, then that is a velocity. It's both a magnitude and a direction. Okay, so we'll use distance and displacement almost interchangeably. Distance is just a magnitude, how far. Displacement is how far in what direction. Speed is how fast you're going, but your velocity would be how fast you're going in a given direction. Now, if you're changing your speed, okay, remember a speed is a change of position, right? Change of distance over change of time. So you've changed your displacement or your distance. That gives you speed or velocity. Now, if you change your speed with respect to time, now you're accelerating, right? You're going from a slow speed to a fast speed. That's an acceleration. That's what that pedal on your car does, isn't it? When you're trying to pass that truck ahead of you, you press that and you increase your speed from 60 miles per hour to no more than 70, do you, on the expressway? Okay, never mind. Don't answer that question. Okay, but that's a change of speed is an acceleration. So I wanted you familiar with those terms. Okay, distance, a scalar quantity, just has a length, how far you moved. Okay, a displacement is a vector quantity, how far you move, but in what direction. Still measured in inches or feet or meters or whatever, just like a distance. It's just got a direction associated with it. Speed is a scalar quantity, how fast are you moving? And velocity is how fast you're moving in a given direction. It's a vector quantity. Same units, miles per hour, feet per second, meters per second, whatever. Okay. An acceleration, on the other hand, is how much your velocity is changing. That's a vector quantity almost always, so we'll talk about the magnitude of acceleration. And that's change of velocity, one velocity to another velocity in a given time interval. So its units are, and let me see if I can do this one, acceleration. Its units would be distance. Which units you like best? Meters, feet, second, miles, kilometers, name a unit of distance. Anyone? Anybody? Give me a distance. Huh? Feet, okay? So we'll use US customary, feet per second per second, okay? A shorter way to say that is feet per second squared. And that's how I usually do it. I just can't type that very easily on this machine because it doesn't have an exponent thing. So feet per second, or I call it feet per second squared. Let me see if I can write that, and you'll see how pathetically I draw on here. That would be, well, where's the pen? Well, it didn't do. Let me try that again. Here we go. This is terrible. Well, why isn't it drawing? Do I have to have, maybe I was on white, okay. Here we go. That's supposed to be an F. It's supposed to be a T. That's feet per, ooh, that's awful. Okay, second squared. That's supposed to be a 2. You're laughing, I can tell. Okay, that's how I would express feet per second, feet per second squared. Not that long a line, but you get the general idea. That's why I don't want to use the pen very much. So what is a force? A push or a pull that changes an object's motion. A change of motion means it's accelerating. We'll get to that a little bit later. Okay? And what are some of the units we use for forces? Okay? This is, all right. Here's the way I remember what a force is. Now, this time I think I'll go back to the text here and type it in. Okay? This is going to be a force. F is equal to a mass, and we haven't talked about what mass is yet, times an acceleration. We have talked about acceleration. Now, most of you, I'm hoping, have probably seen that formula before. F equal ma. Now, that force we're talking about here is called the net force acting on an object. That means the total force acting on an object is equal to the mass of the object times the acceleration of the object, or the change of acceleration of the object. That's what net force is. What is the acceleration? Acceleration is a change of speed or a change of velocity. Okay? So to make a change of velocity happen, you have to have a net force. Okay? Now, what's your unit for mass? The unit for mass, let's do me another box down here. The unit for mass is, I'm going to use the metric system now. Kilogram, that's mass, times, okay, kilograms times acceleration. Remember, acceleration was, if we're in the metric system, that's meters per second per second. So a kilogram meter per second squared, that's what a force is. That has a special name for it. The name that we use for that is a Newton, named after Sir Isaac Newton. So a kilogram meter per second squared is a Newton. Okay? Now, in the US customary system, our unit for force is a pound. Okay? US customary is a pound. Now, why didn't I start with mass times acceleration? Because in the US customary system, we never talk about masses. This book acts like we talk about masses all the time. We don't. Do any of you even know the unit of mass in the U.S. customary system? And you'll say I'm lying when I say that. It's a slug. I'm serious. The name of it is a slug. There's not even an abbreviation for it. If you ever use it, you have to spell it out. SLUG, just like those slimy little things in your garden. Okay, that's a slug. Okay, no one uses slug, a mass unit in the U.S. customary system. We use force units, pounds. In the grocery store, you'll see the scales are measured either in kilograms or in pounds. They're measuring different things. And the kilograms is measuring a mass, the pound is measuring a force. But guess what? On the surface of the earth, where most of us live most of the time, right? They only differ by an acceleration due to gravity, which is a constant. So therefore, we can use them interchangeably. It's not good to, but people do it all the time. Okay, now they give you a conversion here, and we're going to use these a lot. I'll give it to you here. So some of you don't have books. Here it is. 4.45 newtons, named after Sir Isaac, is equivalent to, and they really shouldn't say equal, but that's what the book uses, 1 pound. Okay, that is your conversion between U.S. customary in pounds to newtons in the SI system. Now I say SI, and you'll see this in the book too. It's always capital S, capital I. That means System International. It's from the French. I can't pronounce French well, but it's Système International. Okay, something like that. The French people would stone me for trying to speak it, but that's what we use. That's what we call the metric system, but it's slightly different. I mean, it is the same with a slight little variation in it. Okay. Now, I mentioned Sir Isaac Newton, that this unit is named for. Okay. He came up with the 3 laws of motion. Okay. Oh boy, we're out of time, aren't we? Sorry about that, folks. We ran out of time. We will start next time with the first law of motion. We didn't get far enough along to work any real problems. So your assignment for this week, and for anyone who's adding the class, read the syllabus, come up with any questions you may have about the syllabus, and then print me off and send to me, or just however you get it to me, that last page from the syllabus. If you have any questions, ask the questions first, or write them down, send me an email what your questions are. That will be enough for your assignment, okay? Or send me that last page, okay? And all assignments I'll give on YouTube videos. Like I say, as soon as we finish all this, and I still don't see that we're recording. It said we were, hopefully we are. If not, I'll leave the syllabus out there from last time. Okay. Any questions before we go tonight? So have a good Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you Tuesday, same time, same station. I'll send out the invite probably sometime Monday afternoon or evening, because we're going to might be out of town this weekend, and where we're planning to be is so far out in the boonies, there's terrible internet out there, so I won't be able to send it till we come back. We'll be safe, we'll be isolated, because we're going to be a long way from anybody, by the way. All right, if there are no questions, we will see you on Tuesday. Okay, good deal. Bye-bye. All righty. I don't see Screencast-O-Matic. I don't know what happened to it. It must have disappeared. Yeah.